Hey, welcome to another Flare Court Media Whatever Wednesday. I'm Jason, and today I am up on an empty field because just behind you is about to be a historical event that happens only about every 300 years. Let me flip the camera around here. You see there's nothing there, but if I hold up my phone, you can see that Jupiter appears to have rings. And that's because it is currently December 21st, 2020, the winter solstice, and an event that, like I said, that only happens around every 300 years is unfolding. Jupiter and Saturn are going to be the closest they ever get at 6 arc minutes. Now, about every 20 years or so, Jupiter and Saturn come together in a conjunction. That means from our vantage point, they're as close as they get before they start separating again. But normally that's about the width of 2 full moons. You take the moon and you could stick it between them. That's normally where they are. But they're going to be so close that from our vantage point without magnification, they almost look like one planet, one star. You might hear it called the Christmas star. We should still be able to see a distinguishing difference between the two of them without magnification. But maybe if you didn't have glasses on, they'd blend into one star. But the last time this happened was in 1623. To put that into perspective, that was only 13 years after Galileo discovered the Galilean moons around Jupiter, the 4 biggest moons that you can see with binoculars. He found those with his homemade telescope. And it was about 1 year after the Pilgrims arrived in Plymouth Rock. Now, neither of them probably were able to see this because last time it happened, the planets and the sun were so close together that they would have overlapped. The people in the near the equator might have been able to see a big enough arc between the two to distinguish them. But if we want to go back to the point where people in the northern hemisphere were able to see it, we need to go back to 1226. Now, back then, Cambridge College had just been founded and Genghis Khan was currently running off conquering China. Before that, in 769, King Charlemagne was still reigning and Attila the Hun was rampaging about the same area. So I'm fortunate enough to be a part of something historic that happens only every 300 years, roughly. And I can already see, just poking out, Jupiter behind me. We'll get looking at here in just a second. The sun's still setting. Now, we're fortunate if you weren't able to see it tonight, if you're young enough, in the year 2080, this will happen again. We're lucky we don't have to wait another 300 years. I may even get to see this again when I'm 97 and say, oh, I remember when I saw this when I was 37. So I'm going to make sure that I take this opportunity to see it now. But if you're watching this on Wednesday when I upload it, 2 days after this happened, you can still go out and see it. They're still going to be pretty dang close, and you should be able to see it with high-power binoculars, get a nice view of everything. But I do not currently have a telescope. I'm using my trusty Fujifilm 100 to 400 millimeter lens with a 1.4 times teleconverter, and it's on a mirrorless body, so I get another 1.4 times of crop. So I'm about 800 millimeters right now. And this is what I've used for most of my astrophotography. Love to get a proper telescope in the future, but for this tonight, I should be able to at least get them all in one picture. I don't know if you can see it or not. Ooh. Straight ahead, there might be, right in the middle of the screen, there might be a little dot in the sky. And that's Jupiter and Saturn coming together. But here's what I'm seeing in my lens. So you can see Jupiter there on the bottom left and Saturn up top. Now I have it positioned like this because they're going to be coming down across the screen, and so I wanted to be in shot for them to come into me, because if you focus right on them, you're going to be chasing them the whole time. So it's better to let them slowly come towards you. But here's what I was able to get just a moment ago. I still have to adjust my settings a bit. I should be able to see the Galilean moons better. But you can make out the rings of Saturn, the shape of it just a bit. In no way am I recommending this setup as the appropriate setup for astrophotography. I forgot my weighted bag. This is shaking. Planets are very hard to photograph because they're so bright, and any kind of this whole setup is wobbling terribly. So do not use this as advice for what to use to get into astrophotography. I did make the mistake of having my tripod up too tall, so I should be able to get some better photos now. Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye to you on this camera for now because it is getting dark and I want to actually enjoy this moment and work on getting some pictures. So enjoy the photos. What's amazing about this image is that we can see 7 planet-sized worlds in a section of space that is smaller than the width of our moon as seen from Earth. There are the 2 planets, Jupiter on the left and Saturn on the right. Circling Jupiter are the 4 Galilean moons, named after their discoverer, Galileo Galilei. In order from closest to furthest from Jupiter, they are Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Ganymede is in front of Jupiter in this image, so we can't make it out. Galileo originally thought these bright lights were stars, but after several months of study, he determined that they were moons orbiting Jupiter. Galileo named these 4 moons the Medicean stars in an attempt to win favor with the Medici clan, whom he hoped to gain patronage with. However, the Greek names we use for them today were chosen by Simon Marius, who discovered the moons at nearly the same time as Galileo, but failed to beat Galileo to publishing his findings. It was on a suggestion from Johannes Kepler that Marius named them after 4 of Zeus's lovers, Zeus being the Greek name for Jupiter. Over to the right of Saturn, we have another monstrous moon named Titan. It was once considered to be the largest moon in the solar system, but after measurements from the Voyager spacecrafts, it was determined that Ganymede was bigger. Titan's extensive atmosphere made the planet look larger than it is. Both Ganymede and Titan, however, are larger than the first planet in the solar system, Mercury. One final thing that I found interesting is that even with this 10mm ultra-wide photo, when you zoom in, you can still make out 2 distinct lights from the different planets without them completely blending into one. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. If you appreciated the information in it, or at least found it entertaining, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Helps other people find my video when they're looking for this type of thing. And feel free to share this video with your friends that enjoy astronomy or just enjoy interesting things. And if you want to get notified whenever I release new videos, these Whatever Wednesday videos where we look at something interesting, or my tech videos I release on Fridays, please consider subscribing. I paused because I have been slow in my upload schedule lately, and that's because I've been putting in a lot of hours trying to help with the COVID pandemic, helping process tests. So once that gets taken care of, hopefully I can get back to uploading several videos a month. But until next time, I'm doing what I love, keep doing what you love. Thanks for watching. And yes, I'm recording this while the sun is still up because otherwise you won't be able to see me. So I have not even finished the video looking at the planets yet. Anyway, thanks for watching.